All right, today's the end of November. It's cold out. It's probably, I don't know, 30 something.
Yeah, it is.
This is Ricky that I've talked to a few times. He's limestone pointing this house.
That's right.
Yeah, and briefly tell what it is, what you're doing.
Well, what I'm doing right now, the area that I'm working at, I'm taking out this patch here where this could have settled back. I'm gonna think that at one time this brick was probably to that wood right there.
Right.
So it's pulled back that way. And so over the years, somebody has come in here, and this is actually mortar, and they have patched this, and then of course they went on up. So what I'm attempting to do is to take this patch out and actually put a brick in there.
Gotcha.
So I'm gonna put a brick like this in these places, and I'm gonna take this out.
Great. So this house, I think you said built in the 1800s or 1700s? Yeah, it's an old house.
Yeah, and like I said, this part right here,
Yeah.
1956, this part right here was added on.
Right, and this, yeah, so it's old brick, and you said these bricks, most of these old bricks are handmade with clay.
Yeah, they were handmade out of mostly clay, and like I said, it gets real hard, and just like the lime mortar, over time, lime mortar gets harder and harder. But when you first use it, the first 72 hours, you have to keep it moist. And what that does, because you want it to start to cure, and as it cures, it takes almost like 7 days for it to actually kind of get real hard.
Right.
And then over time, limes get stronger and stronger. What it does is don't allow it to overpower the brick. And that's what you don't want to do, because the bricks are soft, so the lime constantly gets hard. Right. And then it'll adjust with the brick. Now mortar, a lot of times our mortar is hard within 48 hours. 48 hours, our mortar is hard.
Yeah.
We do foundations, and a lot of times a framer will actually start framing on that house in the next day or two.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing this type of work?
30 years.
30 years.
30 years.
So as I was saying the other day, to me it's kind of a lost art, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of people, like when I go to the brick places and talk with the brick guy, and he's like, do you know this person, or do you know? And I've been in it so long, but there's so many people that I don't know.
Yeah.
But then when I go somewhere and somebody say, that's a brick guy, and they say, well, he know you. I was like, well, I never met him. They said, well, he know you. So I guess my name and reputation has got out. But like I said, personally, so many people are doing it, I don't know them.
Yeah.
And I haven't had a chance to meet
said, I think you told me you're from New Bern?
No. I'm actually from Deep Run, North Carolina.
Oh, Deep Run. I know.
Which is about an hour from here.
It's near Kinston.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then tell me the last thing about burlap. You told me how you use why
Yeah,
you use.
well, see, burlap can be used in 2 or 3 different ways. It can be used to actually, like during the summertime, if you're doing lime pouring and you need to keep the wall moist, you actually can wet that burlap down, and what it does, the brick and the lime constantly pulls the water out of the burlap. So that keeps the wall moist.
Gotcha.
Now this time of year, the winter time, the burlap keeps the wall warm. So you want to, after you lime point, you want to put the burlap on and then a tarp. And what you keeping the wind off of it, you're keeping the rain. And we know like today it's 30 something, but the wind chill making it feel
colder,
probably below freezing. So that's very important a day like today is to have it tarp and that burlap, and then tonight for to get in the 30s.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night for to get in the mid 30s, close to freezing. And with the wind chill, you'll definitely have that freeze effect. So that's very important when you're doing it.
So when you're finished doing this house, how long do you think that mortar will last that you're doing?
Well, they say mortar's supposed to last 100 years.
Yeah.
Before you need to repoint it. Now the new mortar, it probably lasts a lot longer, because I found out with a lot of newer jobs, the brick break it down and the mortar stays strong.
Yeah.
So it just depends.
So 30 years from now, do you think you'll walk by this house and say, man, that's the house I used to work on? And
Yeah, probably so. If you love what you're doing, yeah. I've seen a couple of brick masons sit over here that actually helped their father do this back part.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was like, man, I love it. I think he was almost like 80 years old, gentleman.
Yeah.
But and I'm probably gonna be that way. Just love to be around it.
So who taught you this?
I learned in the high school from a guy named Mr. Jack Murphy. And Mr. Murphy was so good at teaching that the principal came to Mr. Murphy and said, Mr. Murphy, you're teaching the students too good, because what they were doing was dropping out
Going to work.
and going to work.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so he was the same way. He believed you want to learn, he'll take you out. Back then, high school started in the 10th grade, where I went to high school. Then it eventually got started in 9th grade. But so when I went there, I was in the 10th grade, and he took us out on projects on the weekend, during the summer. If you showed interest, then he supported you, and he talked to people about getting you a job and everything. And then he was very responsible for helping a lot of guys kind of get in. So he graduated from St. Augustine College.
Right.
So he helped a lot of students get in college by letting doing brick mason, kind of helped them save money, and then also get brick jobs that were close by the university. And they probably didn't go full time. They probably went part time.
So have you carried on his method of teaching, helping other people?
Well, they have asked me to teach at the high school level. Matter of fact, the last 2 to 3 years, well, just before the pandemic, I got a call from a principal at Deep Run. I mean, not Deep Run, but North and North High School, which is in the Kempston area.
Yeah.
And I want to do it, but I don't think the students right now showing the interest in it like when I was going to school.
Yeah.
So I think some right now would only probably take it to get a credit.
You got to have a passion for it.
Yeah. And I would think, like, my dad was a mechanic, and he made us do mechanic work, and I hated it, you know? And so I got a stepson that I didn't want him to do this because I thought it was just too hard of work. And he's a mechanic. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know how that worked out, because I never taught him anything about mechanic work. And, you know, I did very little.
Yeah.
So, but that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
That's how it goes
Well,
sometimes.
good. Well, I'm impressed, man. Every time I walk by, I just blown away by your attention to detail, and
Yeah.
it's really something else. I can't wait to see the finished product.
Yeah, like I said, it's been a work in progress. I got started on the other side about where I am now.
Yeah.
Come around here, and this is like some of the worst area. But,
Yeah. Well, thanks, Ricky. I'm going to take a picture of the front, too.
Okay.
I appreciate it, man. I'll talk to you next time.
Okay.
Thanks.
Nice seeing you.
Yeah, good seeing you. So this is where he's got to work behind this to keep the sun off the brick. But this is the old house built in the, I think, 1800s. But he's got all this so the brick doesn't get the sun on it and wet, I guess. Pretty cool. Interesting guy, Ricky. Very friendly. And that's Port of New Bern today.